In this video, I will show you how to create a database of chemical substances from Excel to ChemFinder and search chemicals in your new database step by step. Hi, I'm Elena Carzioli from the Department of Chemistry at the University of Cyprus. Suppose you're struggling with finding your chemicals in the lab because you only have an outdated spreadsheet. In that case, this video walks you through exactly what you need to do to create an easily updatable and searchable digital database, making your chemicals much more accessible. Let's start with the first section of this tutorial on creating a database of chemical substances from Excel to ChemFinder. So, let's get started with step number 1. First, you will need to download the ChemFinder software. This program is available with your ChemDraw subscription. If you haven't already installed it, follow the link in the comments of this video to do so. If you have difficulties installing ChemFinder, contact your IT department. They should be able to walk you through the process. Now that you have installed ChemFinder, it's time for step 2. You will need to enable the ChemDraw for Excel add-in. To do so, you open a blank Excel workbook, click on File, click Options, and then Add-ins. On the Active Applications add-ins, you should see ChemDraw for Excel add-in. Select that. On the bottom of the window, choose the Excel add-ins from the Manage drop-down field and hit Go. And once you've enabled ChemDraw for Excel add-in, it's time for step 3. Create a ChemOffice worksheet. For this step, you need to open an Excel list of chemical substances. I am using a list of chemicals from the Organic Teaching Lab for this tutorial. Once you open the worksheet, you click the ChemOffice 21 add-in. Next, you click on the Convert Worksheet button and press OK. The conversion has begun. Allow some time for Excel to convert the worksheet. Once you've converted your regular worksheet to a ChemOffice worksheet, it's time for step 4. Add structures to your ChemFinder worksheet. For this step, you first need to rename the column containing the chemical names to structure. This is how the program will recognize and add the structure to the worksheet. Then, select the cells in that column and click Convert Name to Molecule. This action will add the structures on the same cell that contains the names of the chemical substances. Once you've added the structures to the ChemOffice worksheet, it's time for step 5, add any other information you want to have in your database using the ChemDraw functions. To do this, just click Option and select ChemDraw functions. A window will open, and you can choose an available function for the database. For example, you need molecular weight and formula for this database. You simply add 2 columns, rename them, select the first cell, double-click on the molecular weight function, select the cell, in this case, A2, and apply the function in the whole column. Repeat this step for the formula. Now that you've created your final ChemOffice worksheet, it's time for step 6, export the ChemFinder worksheet as an SD file and import it in ChemFinder. First, click on the Import Export button and hit the Export Table command. This action will save your file in an SD format. Once you've saved your file in SD format, it's time for the final step, import the SD file in ChemFinder and create a database of chemical substances. For this last step, first, you need to open ChemFinder. Press Cancel to close the default window. Select File, Import and select the SD file you just saved. Click OK on the window. This action creates the ChemFinder database. At this point, you will need to change the molecular weight and formula fields to the ChemFinder defaults. There you have it. In just a few steps, you can create a database from an Excel spreadsheet to ChemFinder. Let's move to the second section of this tutorial, how to search your new database. So, let's start with step 1. First, you will need to open the database on ChemFinder software. For this step, open ChemFinder, find the database and click Open. Now that you have opened the database, it's time for step 2, search for chemical substances. All fields are searchable in the database, and you can search using the command Enter Query. To perform a query, you can either click on the target button on the top or press Ctrl+F. And once you've enabled the query function, it's time for step 3, search for a chemical moiety. Let's search for carbonyl groups. Double-click in the structure window and draw the group using the ChemDraw tools. You hit search, and the search results appear on the screen. You can also view the results as a table by clicking the Switch to Table button. Another helpful way to search is by molecular weight. For example, if you are looking for substances with molecular weight between 90 to 100, you open a new query and type 90 to 100 in the molecular weight field. The search will provide all substances in this molecular weight range. You can view the list of substances and sort them in any desirable way. You can also search by name or a fraction of a word. For example, in the mole name field, you type an asterisk, the fraction of a name, carbon, followed by an asterisk. This search will provide all substances that contain this word. Again, you can change to the list view and sort your data. There you have it. In just a few steps, you can search your database of chemicals. Thanks for watching.